In this video, I'll show you 6 ways you can deal with having text over images, making sure the text is easy to read and complies with accessibility guidelines. Watch till the end of the video for a bonus tip. Hey guys, and welcome to Tool Coding. If you're building a website and have got some cards like this with text over the background image, you'll need to make sure the text is easy to read so that your site is accessible. In this example, the image is too bright against the white text. We'll be using CSS to fix that in this video, and as always there will be a link to all the code in the description down below. Let's get started with our first option, tinting the image background. As you can see in the HTML, I've got a div element for the card container with a background image set, another one for the background wrapper that we'll use for our overlay, and an additional text overlay that we'll use shortly. I've also added in some styles above, but you can change this to match your website style. Let's start by adding a semi-transparent background colour to the content overlay. And we can change the opacity to make it as dark as you want, making sure the text is still readable. We can also add an animation so that when the user hovers over the card, the overlay gets lighter like so. If you didn't want to tint the entire background of the card, we can just limit that to the section that contains the text. We'll do the same as before and apply a semi-transparent background to the text overlay this time. And as you can see, only the bottom section of the card has the overlay. We can also adapt this text overlay to be blurred instead. We'll add in a backdrop filter property with the blur function set to, say, 20 pixels. And we can adjust the opacity and blur strength to our liking. We can also change the overlay background to a different colour, but be sure that the text remains readable. Now for my preferred method, the gradient overlay background. We can add in a linear gradient background like so, going from black at the bottom of the card to transparent. And we can also adjust the gradient stop positions, if we like to see a bit more of the image at the top. Just so you know, there's a bug in some versions of Safari related to the transparent colouring gradients. If you notice your gradient appearing differently in Safari when testing, set the colour with an opacity of 0.01. Let's try adding an inline background to the text, rather than having it fill the width of the container. We'll need to set the display property of our heading and paragraph elements to inline block, as well as add some padding around the text. And then we can apply a background colour like so, adjusting the opacity to our liking. We can also close the gap between the two elements like so. And let's finish off with the final option, adding a text shadow. We'll simply use the text shadow property on the two text elements, setting the blur to 5 pixels and the colour to black. Notice how the shadow only slightly improves the readability of the text. We might need to add in one of the other options like the image overlay to make the text more readable. Here's a quick bonus tip to end the video. If you've got Firefox, you can use the contrast checker in DevTools to see how readable text is against a particular image or gradient background. If we inspect the text here and click on the icon next to the text color property, we can see that we're not fulfilling all the accessibility requirements, and so we'll need to use one of the options covered in this video to fix that. Let's add in the image overlay with an opacity of 0.6 and see how that changes things. If I open the contrast checker again, you can see the accessibility has been improved. If you're looking for an example app, I've created a suite of Windows and Android apps that are all open source. I've also made a language learning site which is 100% free. Check them both out in the description down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to keep up to date with the latest from Tool Coding. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.